And this is all about the important things, like making sure that English comes before Māori on road signs rather than Māori before English. You know, the important things in the culture war that National has started.
Yeah, I do want to talk about a couple of the things that you are going to get done. The removal of te reo from our government departments. Is that really the kind of stuff that people are caring about, Chris?
Well, that's not on the 100-day plan, but over time we will be transitioning government departments. So it's English first, so that people can identify with their government departments and know what they are. I've seen quite a few.
But how Trumpian does that sound? This is the thing. America first, English first. You know what I mean? It's like it's Trumpian. And but in fairness, I will show you very shortly how English first will actually make a world of difference to us. Just stick with me, baby birds. I'll feed you.
Few surveys around this, and people struggle with the te reo name. Not to say that you can't have the te reo name as part of the government department, but
isn't that generous? So you're allowed to have Māori as a part of the name. It just has to be subservient. Can we use that word, subservient, to the English name? That's good. Well done.
Let's call it the transport agency. That's what it is.
What do you think, Kieran?
Well, we've just had an election campaign where cost of living was the priority for most voters. And now we've seen a 100-day plan with a ragtag of weird priorities.
I do want to slap him and ask him to wake up before he starts talking, but, you know, it's just a style thing.
Priorities that don't really send a message to the country that the cost of living is going to be a priority for this government. At the end of the day, I haven't seen throughout my time as a minister or in Parliament or just someone who lives in Masterton, I haven't seen a document that's come from a government department that I haven't been able to read because, of course, they communicate in English. And even if you take Waka Kotaho, for example, immediately after that, it says New Zealand Transport Agency. Everyone has been able to navigate this, but this is a signal that they are prioritising, repealing back the priority of te reo, like getting it standing up to what it should be in this country is something we're proud of and promote, and sending little virtual signals to everybody. The same thing that these guys have been accusing us of doing for 6 years. It's a weird thing to prioritise first off the bat, I think.
It's not a priority straight off the bat. It's not part of our 100-day plan. It's part of our work program. But our focus, the first bill we're putting through the Parliament is to return the Reserve Bank to a single focus on price stability and getting inflation under control, for example.
So, virtue signalling, there's another word that gets bandied around by the right wingers, and that's woke. So this is the right-wing version of being what they call woke. Because I love Kieran, because he just sits here and goes, well, this is the tone. Well, what a bunch of bullshit. That's not going to do anything. And he's completely right. And he's 100% right. But what I want to do before we get into this, Chewy, is I did do a bit of research today, and I did actually figure out maybe National has a point. You ready for this? Let's do this. Because look, right? Waka Kotaho, New Zealand Transport Agency.
I saw the first two names, and now I'm shitting and crying.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
But look, bad, hard to read, hard to follow. But of course, good, easy to read, easy to understand. And you can see their point. Bad, good.
Shitting and pissing myself. Don't know. I've
Bad.
driven my car into a coulter.
Good. People can't figure this one out. Easy to read and understand. This is literally
signage.
This is literally because they're talking about English first, and they're saying, but Maori can still be there, so they want to change this to this. That's what they're talking about doing, and that's what they're talking about doing in their first fucking 100 days as one of the more important things to get onto, to change this to this. Bish, please.
Bish, please, indeed.
Look, that was the appropriate time to use it.
Whenever this comes up, and I see there's a couple of people in the chat talking about the official language of the country. Like, English isn't an official language of the country. It's not. It's a dominant language, sure, but it's not an official language because it doesn't need the protection. Like, you go back 30, 40 years and Māori was at the point that it potentially would die out. It's the only place in the world where it's spoken.
Yeah.
It is a big part of the cultural identity of this country. And I'm sorry, if we want to boil it down to brass tacks or whatever, I think I'm mixing my metaphors there. Second place does not get naming rights. Let's just make that the rule.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the country being called Aotearoa New Zealand. There's nothing wrong with us coming to you here from Otupoti, Dunedin. There's nothing wrong with it being called Waka Kotaho, the New Zealand Transport Agency, because people are adaptable. But National think the majority of people are idiots and can't learn.
No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. They don't think that. They know that they're not. They're playing populist politics. They're pretending they know that they think that. They don't think that at all. And this is coming out more and more and more. You know, like Kieran said, these guys are being, giving us shits about this for 6 years. Here's another one, right? And I put this up as a tweet today, and I'll put it out to you. You ready for this? This is the tweet. So let's just make something clear. A government telling parents that their children can't have cell phones at school is the quintessential example of what right wingers complain about when they cry nanny state, right? And for all those people who are backing National for cancelling the smoke-free legislation, citing freedom to choose, you better now also be up in arms about banning cell phones in schools as well. A parent's right to choose what their child uses at school and all that. Now, firstly, I actually don't have a problem with my kid not taking their cell phone to school. I quite like the idea. But the point I'm making is the hypocrisy that telling parents what they can and can't do to communicate with their children is the dictionary definition of nanny state. And these guys have been going on and on and on about virtue signal, wokeness, nanny state. This is what they've been complaining about, right? And now they're doing it. And they're doing virtue signaling for Waka Kotaho to New Zealand Transport Agency because, Chewy, they don't think that New Zealanders can't figure it out, but they have a section of their base that wants to rally against the Māori language, and without that base, they don't win. So they are literally virtue signaling to that base.